He talks about his great decisions about the Bank of England. The terrible decision was to take the Bank of England out of regulating the level of debt of the economy. Isn't one of the reasons why our recession is predicted to be deeper is that we have got such high levels of personal debt? Will he confirm that, in fact, we have the highest level of household debt of any major economy? Doesn't he understand you can't build New Jerusalem on a mountain of debt?
Mr. Speaker, if I can take debt overall in our economy, then let me read. I think he usually likes to quote the IMF rather than the European Union. Debt levels in the UK in 2008, 37.6% public debt. Canada, France 55.5%, Germany 56.1%, Italy 101.3%, Japan 94.3%. You've got to look at personal and public debt together, and that's what we will do.
The IMF repeatedly warned this government about the high levels of personal debt and government debt. I don't know why he didn't just agree with my question, because this is what... I don't know, because this is what he said to the Labour conference in 1995. It's another quote. Perhaps they'd like to listen to this. I say to those who... This is what he said. The great words of the leader. Why don't you listen for a change?
Order. I want to hear what was said at the Labour Party conference. Because I'm not allowed to be there. So be quiet. Be quiet.
I don't know why the honourable member for Normanton was shouting, "It's almost certainly balls." This is what he said. I say to those who propose we simply tax, spend and borrow that it's because I care about our responsibility to future generations that I tell you we will not build the New Jerusalem on a mountain of debt. That is what he said. The fact is, we've got the highest personal debt of any country in the world, we've got one of the highest budget deficits in the world, and our regulation system has failed. In fact, it failed so badly that the Prime Minister's new Treasury Minister, Lord Miners, told the House of Lords this week that he wanted to see a public inquiry into the regulatory failure. Can the Prime Minister tell us when we're going to have that public inquiry?
Mr. Speaker, the Financial Secretary said no such thing. And I believe that he is proving every time, in this House that he is a novice in parliamentary procedure. Mr. Speaker, when I referred to debt, I referred to low national public debt, and that is exactly what we did after 1997 to reduce debt from 44% of national income to the 38% it was this year. Now, the Conservative Party left us with higher levels of debt. And if he wants to go back in history, he should remember his role as economic advisor to the Conservative government when 3 million people were unemployed, and at the same time we had interest rates at 18%. And as for borrowing, last week the Shadow Chancellor said that borrowing was the wrong approach. The Leader of the Opposition, however, said that borrowing is inevitable and you have to allow that to happen. The only change that they represent is that they change their minds every week.
The Prime Minister says in some way I have misrepresented what Lord Miners said. Let me explain exactly what Lord Miners said. He was asked in the other place, Lord Lee asked, if we're going to hold inquiries, do we not need a wider public inquiry? Lord Miners says, my lords, I agree with my noble friend. So, that is what he said. Yes, that is the whole thing. So he said he'd have a public inquiry, we should have one. Isn't the truth this? In Britain, people are losing their homes, small businesses are closing, unemployment is rising, manufacturing output again today is falling, and by refusing to hold a public inquiry, the Prime Minister is yet again demonstrating that he cannot provide the change people want. On the day the American people voted for change, aren't people in this country entitled to ask, how much longer have we got to put up with more of the same from a government that's failed?
Mr. Speaker, the reason that the American people voted for change is that what...
Prime Minister.
The American people have voted is they want progressive policies. They voted for a fiscal stimulus opposed by the Conservative. They voted for a rising minimum wage opposed by the Conservative. They voted for regulation of pensions and mortgages opposed by the Conservative. They voted for tax credits opposed by the Conservative. The truth is that the Conservative Party policies are rejected in America and in Britain by people who do not want to pursue them. But if you will forgive me, on this day of all days, I believe we should end this exchange by recognising the truly historic significance for America of the decision that's been made by the American people. They've demonstrated again and again their enduring strength of their democracy and their values. And we will work closely with the new administration because their progressive policies are similar to ours.
Tim Dobbin.
And you're lucky to get